You already do believe that your desires are possible. Let me prove it to you. Maybe you feel tired of doubting your desires, of questioning whether you're doing something wrong, or wondering why it's taking so long to get there. It's not because you don't believe your desires are possible. It's not because you doubt too much. In fact, you already believe your desires are possible. Today I want to share with you what it takes to access the parts of you that already believe in the reality you want. Because you don't need to force yourself to believe something new. It's already within you, right here and right now. Let's dive in. Hello, my love. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Lorena. I'm a somatic self-concept and identity coach, and I support women in bridging the gap between who they currently perceive themselves to be and who they desire to be or become, so that you can break even the most persistent, unwanted patterns in your life, step into the version of yourself that you've always wanted to be, and create the reality that you deeply desire and that you very much deserve, and that you already believe in. You may think that you're doubting your desires, that there's parts of you that think that what you want isn't possible, and that feels like it might be the barrier to you manifesting what you want. You maybe even wonder why, even after consuming all the information about how you can create the reality you desire, or how after years of therapy and self-reflection and self-development books and podcasts, nothing has really changed yet. It's not because you don't believe it's possible. In fact, you already do believe your desires are possible because you want them to be. It's that simple. You haven't given up yet. You've clicked on this video. You're choosing to keep going, even when you don't know how. And that you haven't given up yet really, really matters, because you know how many people want something and they don't try to make it happen. They just surrender themselves to the fact of the illusion, rather, that they'll never get what they want. They vote for their limitations at any opportunity. They've settled long ago, and they're just pretending that they are happy with what they have, even when there's an inkling in their heart that they want more. You can't give up on your desire because it's meant for you. There's a reason you haven't given up yet. You've not been able to let it go because on some level, you know it's yours. On some level, you already know it's possible for you. On some level, you're just trying to figure out what it takes for you to make this your reality. We don't all have the same desires. But sometimes we think that. Sometimes you think that everyone must want to be with the person you want to be with, that everyone wants to have an art business just because that's what you want, and so that's what you see other people want, or just because you're in love with that person, so you almost can't see any other path in life. But that's because it's your path, not anyone else's. Not everyone wants what you want. I don't want what you want, and I'm sure you don't want what I want. All our desires are very much unique. And yes, there's overlap. We often have specific core desires that apply to every single human. Pretty much everyone wants to be loved, everyone wants to belong, everyone wants to be free. But your specific desires, they are yours. And you have them because you're supposed to experience them. But also, you wouldn't have clicked on this video if you had full certainty at all times. There's probably a part of you for whom this reality, this desire, doesn't yet feel fully real. And that's because you just haven't fully embodied that reality yet. And that is an art to do. It's not just about imagining nice things and hoping that they'll come true. It's about really working with the parts of you that do doubt, processing the emotions from the past that created that doubt. And it's about embodying the version of you that already believes. If you've been trying to change your beliefs for a while, you've been working on embodying a new self-concept, you've been trying to manifest the reality you want to see and experience, and you haven't seen the results, you've only seen stagnation, or maybe minimal progress, or maybe a regression, the opposite of what you want showing up, then that experience of nothing changing towards the reality you want, that can really mess with your belief, and that is normal. Even if you started with excitement for the future that you're creating, you then naturally start doubting yourself because you start questioning whether your desire is really possible or meant for you, or whether you're really deserving of it, whether you've maybe done something to keep it away. And honestly, of course, if everything was fully aligned in your self-concept, your state of being, your nervous system, your subconscious belief system, it would probably be here. And all of these components that I just mentioned go into your self-concept. It's not this surface level, imagine your way into it bullshit that people tell you it is. If you want to learn more about what it takes to truly master your self-concept and become a new version of yourself, and you also want some practices, I do have a free resource called the Self-Concept Mastery Blueprint, where you can find a framework for how to change your self-concept, and you can find a daily checklist and some awesome practices for you to begin seeing changes in your identity and in the way you show up in your life. So check that out in the description box below. But it doesn't matter that you've not yet reached the self-concept or the reality that you want to live from and experience. Because just because you're not there yet doesn't mean it's not possible. It just means there's work to do. The fact that you still have the desire, the fact that it hasn't left you, even if it's been following you for years or months to no avail, or with no progress or minimal progress, that alone means it's possible for you. And it means there's part of you that believes it is too. So how do we fully immerse ourselves in that belief? Especially if you feel like you can't access the part of you that does believe. Because I'm not saying this whole concept of you already do believe just because it sounds hopeful or nice. In fact, I really don't want to keep you stuck in a loop of false hope, which is what you see a lot online, to be honest. You see a lot of messaging around just live in the end, just pretend it's done, just act as if, and then it will happen. But you tried that and it's not here yet, right? So of course you're going to question yourself, of course you're going to doubt. And in fact, it's normal that you still feel doubt or conflict inside of you, because that is just part of being human. You will always feel a little bit of doubt, because as long as it's not come to fruition yet, the parts of you that doubt always have room to make themselves known and present. They can always take that as proof that it's not working out. But these parts of you that doubt, that question whether it's possible for you, that question whether you're doing something wrong, that question whether you're truly capable of it or deserving of it, they are just trying to protect you. They want to keep you safe because maybe you've been hurt in the past. Maybe you've tried to believe and you did so for a long, long time. And you just feel like you wasted time and effort and maybe even your money. What keeps you from fully believing that the reality you desire is possible, let alone already living in and from that reality internally, is that you've collected so much proof toward the opposite of what you desire. If you felt and experienced stagnation for months or years, you'll expect more stagnation. If you believed in the past and you got disappointed, you're going to assume that the same thing will happen again, even if you don't want to assume that. In the work that I do with my clients in my coaching program, Recreate Yourself, we do not bypass your way into believing. We're actively working with the parts of your psyche that don't yet believe so that we can get them on board with the parts of you that do. So contrary to popular belief, the work doesn't lie in eliminating doubt. The work doesn't lie in ignoring your reality and bypassing what you're truly feeling. The work lies in integrating the conflicting parts of your psyche, the ones that already do believe, the ones that are open-hearted and that trust, and also the ones that doubt and the ones that want to protect you, the ones that are shit scared and that have so much resistance, the ones that don't trust, that don't feel like your desires even feel safe. So the work really lies in just making the part that does believe dominant. And it's not that it doesn't exist yet, right? We spoke about this. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You would have clicked off long ago. So it's not about creating anything new or anything that doesn't yet exist inside of you. It's about bringing to the surface what's already there. It's just dormant. It's just hidden. It's just pushed aside by every part of you that feels more comfortable or more safe in doubt. And why do these parts feel more comfortable in doubt? Because it's what feels familiar, it's what feels safe, it's what's protected you for so long, it's what feels known. So you don't have to be positive all the time. Not at all. It's very unlikely for you to be able to achieve being positive all the time, and it's highly unsustainable. That's why so many women find manifestation and then they experience some results with surface level advice. And then they begin feeling stuck after a while when they either regress or they see no further progress. Conflicting beliefs by no means cancel out your manifestation. It's normal and healthy to consider multiple perspectives. It means your brain is working. You want to be open-minded and discerning. So you don't need to believe 100%. You don't need to have 100% certainty. And yeah, you can get to a point where you're so embodied in the reality that you want to experience that there's no other option in your consciousness, no matter what your external circumstances currently look like. But that's not necessarily the goal. That's a state that feels great because you're no longer dependent on the external to prove anything to you. And it's one of my favorite successes, I will say that. When my clients in Recreate Yourself reach that state and they suddenly see things as possible that they never thought were a possibility before, even when they really wanted to believe, those are the client successes I celebrate far more than the tangible manifestations, because you just feel so empowered when you're in that state and when you're able to sustain it. But at the end of the day, you just need to believe a little more than you don't. So stop doubting that your desires are possible. You have the inkling, you have the longing, that means it is here for you. What you need to do is to align your self-concept to become the version of you that finds the reality that you desire dominant, that no longer feeds into her limitations or her perceived limitations, and that knows how to work with the parts of you that doubt, that fear, and that resist. Because when your self-concept aligns with the reality that you've been dreaming of, then it has no choice but to come true. Let me know how this resonated with you and what your key takeaway is from this video. If you liked it, please do leave a like. And if you want to see more videos from me, please do subscribe. I upload videos every week. If you do want to go deeper and you want to work with me and you want to join my coaching program, Recreate Yourself, I've got that linked for you in the description box below. And otherwise, I hope to see you in next week's video, where I'll share a little bit about a pattern that I broke, which was my wound of constantly feeling like I had to prove myself. And it will also demonstrate to you why when you change your self-concept, you break all the patterns. Because whatever you're experiencing in your life is not just playing out in one area, even if one area feels more pressing or more persistent. You make one change, you change it all. I'll see you next week.